What's going on, everybody? This is Rick from Studio Spades, and today I got a new tutorial for you. This is going to be a short one, but short doesn't necessarily mean bad. I'm going to explain the delete geometry section of Explorer Tool. So we'll start by dragging in a Explorer Tool and selection to cursor to make sure that everything is zeroed out here at 0, 0, 0. And with everything selected, press M, new collection, and add it to a collection so that we can keep our project very organized. And let's add a simple mesh, like a Suzanne monkey, that we're gonna process. So make sure you add the object to a collection as well, the monkey in this case, and hide that collection, because Explorer Tool works with collections. So we'll go to the modifier window of Explorer Tool and pin it. And then we'll add the object back in. And I'm going to switch to a madcap to make things a bit more visually distinguishable. So, delete geometry. How does it work? Well, we'll go to delete geometry, and we don't have a lot of options, as you can see. The only thing you have to do is turn it on and press play. And you'll see that the noise selector 1 is selected by default in this case, which makes noise selections and then deletes those faces based on the noise. So we don't have a lot of faces right now because the Suzanne is quite simple geometry. So let's change that a bit by going to modify geometry and checking modify, which subdivides it one time, but by default let's set it to 2, so we have a bit more faces on the Suzanne. And we can see clearly what the noise selector is doing, making selections of the faces and deleting those faces. Now the noise is of course animated. If you don't want to animate it, you can always change the settings here and maybe manually change the seed under noise 1, since we have noise selector 1 selected here. But I like animation, so let's put it back on. And we can of course change it to the noise 2 or noise 3 and multiple selectors here, which makes selections based on the technique behind those selectors or modifiers. So, well, I think it's pretty clear what noise does. Let's switch to sine wave, which makes it disappear for some reason. Now you might think, wait, is this thing broken or not? But it's not. It's just basically this is happening because of the range map here that has a wrong value for the noise selector in this case. The delete geometry selection. So if we turn it to 0 and to 1, you can see it switching between 0 and 1 because it selects all the noise or not. It selects all the faces or not. That's because a sine wave, which we are using right now, looks like this. Sort of, kind of. I mean, not really my best drawing work here. But once it reaches the top, it shows the faces and it goes below the 0 crossing. There's an invisible line here, which is called the 0 crossing, and it will either show or not show all the faces here. That is basically what the sine wave is doing. And we also have a normal selector, of course. Wait, can I remove? Yeah, okay. We have a normal selector, which works differently. There's a full tutorial on the normal selector as well on my YouTube channel. But basically it chooses faces and can select effects and filter effects based on the direction of faces. So the polygons that are pointing upward right now, those are being deleted, and the ones that are pointing downward are not. And we can change that, of course. So we'll go to normal selector, which is, hello? It's right below. Normal selector, you can select the vector, which is +1, so everything that is on the plus z-axis pointing upward. X, Y, Z, that's what this vector stands for. So if we slide it to the left and put the Z to 0, you can see that everything on the minus X axis to the left is getting deleted and everything on the right is not. So that's basically how the normal selector works. And we can, let's just put it back to +1 on the z-axis. We can animate this, of course, by using the factor slider, which selects more and more faces based on the factor we're selecting until it either completely disappears or completely reveals the mesh. And you can use a modifier on that as well. So we'll use a loop modifier for example, and it'll loop. But in this case, it's only doing like half of the mesh as we can see. So we'll have to tweak loop 1 as well. Go to loop 1. And yeah, it goes from 0 to 1. And that only seems to be doing half the mesh. So what if we put this to -1? That seems to fix it and cover the entire mesh. Let me just lengthen the project time quickly. So yeah, that's how that works. And we also have a loop selector as well, which seems to be glitching out, but again, it's working perfectly fine. It's just based on the settings that we're using here. So we could change the vector range map, for example. And you can see things, yeah, flash. We can change the time, of course, to lengthen that effect, or maybe shorten it by 0.1. So that's how the loop selector works. It makes a selection based on the time span and vector range map here. Might not be the exact ideal effect you were looking for, but it's possible. I personally prefer the noise and normal selector most. Now you might also see a volume selector that will disappear in the coming version because I have made a volume fall off, which basically does the same thing and way more. I'm going to show that in future tutorials. So yeah, just ignore the volume selector for now. That will disappear because an even bigger and better update is coming soon. So quite a simple function, delete geometry, but it might be handy for you. And that's how it works. So I hope you enjoyed. Keep an eye out for the next Blender Exploder tool update, which of course will be 100% free for everybody who owns it. So yeah, I hope to release it in the coming days. Take care.